Is Bragg the Gutsman any good in patch 6.3.1? Yes, this video is a little late, but I had lots of shiny baubles to chase. Let's give the Gutsman his due, so that you too can have bragging rights. On Ultra Scale, this legendary hero comes at 7,442 hit points default. Armor is 50, so we see this is a man-eater, with missile resistance 15% as standard, which I have to mention because some rare cases do not. Leadership of 80 is what we'd expect from a man-eater, with speed 57, charge speed 88 being what we want out of a hero here. Melee attack begins at 65, which is quite high. Attack interval is the standard 4 seconds. Splash target size is medium, so Reich's Guard on down, trolls will not be splashed. And max target splashed and damaged is 5. Melee defense begins at the much more restrained 42. Weapon strength 500 is a godly amount, split base 125 and armor piercing 375 with a bonus versus large of 30. Wait, what? Usually a bonus like that is for a hero with melee attack like 38 or 45 base? That's insane! Charge bonus is 50 and mass is 2500, and that's still insane. To reiterate, the hero does not have a ranged weapon. The hero counts as a siege attacker, has Ogre charge, immunity to psychology, causes fear, hide in forest, and wall breaker, which is a nice thing because Ogre bulls don't have it. That's a big deal. Bragg's trait, the Gutsman, gives him a general plus 15% to assassination hero action, and once per battle, he will auto-cast Foreboding Executioner on an enemy lord or hero below 20%, range 25 seconds, doing some impressive direct damage for 2 seconds officially. It says here, execute enemy if under 30% HP, so we'll see how this works in action. This is future battle, and I've come back to the script to say that when I had fights against lords that are undead or demonic, when they go down and the battle ends instantly because they're the only enemies that I had on the map in these demo battles. So the execution is real. But what's going on is probably they have it set so that if there's a sudden burst of healing, it would have to be really, really high in order to make the execution effect not happen. And then you just get the direct damage. So I think that's what's going on here. As an embedded hero, Bragg brings training, increasing the experience points gained by units in battle by a percentage. It used to be otherwise. This is better. Spread Control is the map passive which caused control for enemy provinces. Agent actions are the holy trinity of Assault Garrison, Assassinate, and Assault units, so stick a halo on the Gutsman. Specialist reduces the cost of these always useful agent actions. For the top line, Noblar Helpers reflect the tabletop and can provide missile resistance, spell resistance, well technically that's Blessing of the Great Maw, a little physical resistance with Lucky and plus 5 melee attack and plus 5% weapon strength with Sword Noblars, all from rank 7 on up. Collect them all like Pokemon. In the main combat line, we begin with Unstoppable Force for plus 5% speed and plus 10 flat charge bonus. Blade Master at 3 pips brings plus 12 more melee attack, so this gets very juicy, but hey, sometimes you're not hitting large targets. Healthy Appetite at 3 is plus 15% health, Larger Gutplate at 3 is plus 15 armor and plus 10 leadership. Wound Maker is plus 20% weapon strength at 3 and exists in the first part of the tree. That's interesting. Foe Seeker is actually completely normal, active skill for more speed, charge speed nowadays, and less fatigue. 3 pips of Brute Force adds plus 45 armor piercing per melee strike, which is guaranteed damage through armor unless some other resistance applies like Ward Save. Armor won't stop it, and being a flagellant in rags won't stop it either. Scarred Veteran is a second source of plus 15% health at 3. Hard to hit is plus 12 melee defense at 3, Devastating Charge as plus 30 charge bonus, flat at 3. So yes, that's 90 total now, and the capstone, Snacks, is like the hunger for ogres. 0.1% health regeneration in combat when in melee. Higher base health means more healing, which is good to know. At rank 10, the Gutsman can pick from 3 pips in a line which are actually not mutually exclusive at all, so you can take all 3. Great Beast Hunter is based on another hero, and immunity to psychology is redundant. Weapon strength plus 10% is not, and you add Colossal Strike as an active ability. You usually aren't getting this at rank 10 on a hero. It's an alternative to Deadly Onslaught, but focuses on monster slaying, so even more anti-large and a nice helping of damage. No scale off your back. Drawn to Slaughter adds plus 15% speed, plus 10% weapon strength, and plus 15 flat charge bonus. The fact you don't need to give up other pips to get this means this is pure gravy. Gutsy adds plus 10% more health and plus 15% unit mass for a single pip, making everything else sing. For the very personal line available starting at rank 12, Head Lopper gives plus 10 melee attack and adds Causes Terror, which is nice since on top of being immune to it, he's dishing it out. Gift of Carnage is a really interesting one, affecting enemies in the local region. So, besides minus 4 melee defense to enemies in that region, any character wounded in that region rather than killed suffers plus 3 to the turns they need to take to recover. So an anti-Vlad skill. Well, there are other good examples, Valkia, Morathi. Of course, non-immortal characters are just dead, and that's it. Welcomed for Now gives control plus 2 for local province, growth plus 15 for local province, building construction cost minus 10% for local province. So when he visits a camp, build stuff. Works for me. Dreaded Aura not only grants immunity to psychology to Bragg's entire army, but within 55 meters, removes immunity to psychology from enemy units, making them vulnerable to fear and terror unless they have a separate source of immunity, namely generating fear and terror themselves, or being undead or something. I suppose it's really funny to watch Flagellants run away. Lone Wanderer grants Bragg minus 20% hero action cost, his success chance plus 20%, and enemy hero success chance minus 20%. He's a legendary hero. I think we can agree this is good. Foreboding Executioner upgraded gives 3 casts of this, but then the 120-second cooldown is actually relevant, and range went up to 50 meters. This also inflicts Disemboweled upon enemies as a contact effect, and this does 44 points of direct damage to an enemy when it procs, which is every 2 seconds, over a 10-second duration. Bragg gets a legendary weapon too. The Great Gut Gouger brings various benefits. Magical attacks! I mean, maybe you're wondering where this was hiding. Plus 15 more bonus versus large, plus 30 armor piercing in melee per strike, obviously combining with his combat line skill, and the active ability. This is 120-second cooldown, plus 24 melee attack, plus 50% to weapon damage. Causes terror even if he doesn't do it full time yet, and each blow inflicts monstrous impact, nerfing its speed by 60%. Good luck getting away from him now. So how do we use Bragg the Gutsman? What I've described is not only a well-rounded and reliable hero, not only a hero that simply gets better the more you use him in every place possible, but a simple hero who brings reliable leadership, armor piercing, anti-large armor piercing for that matter, lots of health, lots of charge bonus as you get further ahead, and never stops bringing Ogre Charge, Wall Breaker, and his modest Encourage aura. This is your ideal Dragon Slayer melee hero. Your ridiculous offset to all the anti-infantry characters in the game, less squishy than any hunter, and not worried about ammunition. So what's the downside? Actually, let's talk about the downside briefly. Armor starts at 50, even with the Gutplate skill, that only goes up plus 15. Granted, his only legendary item is the weapon, so you can slap serious armor boosting on him. Even just a silvered steel is plus 40 armor nowadays, but this is a vulnerability. Also, that speed is good for an ogre, but that's all. He's not going to outrun a feral connoisseur, even the normal ones. There's also nothing here except Blessed by the Great Maw providing any spell resistance. So just be aware that Bragg dishes it out, and health-wise can take it, but even he has limits. Finally, I'm sure you're noticing from the footage, but his animations can actually be fairly long. So even though that he only has 4 seconds between these animations if he's not caught up with any other problem, they still can get a little long. So be aware of that, and that just means make sure that he's operating as part of a team more often than not. Slaughtermasters begin with 6,508 health, Firebellies are 5,508, Bruisers are 6,216. Take what you have here and abuse it to the fullest. And no law says you can't bring a bruiser to tank for him and distract the little ones. Bragg will bring the dragon's head as a trophy. It works out. Take care, and have fun doing more monster hunting than in a Capcom game. Do Hydras give extra drops?